Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. The leak about a week ago confirmed that DLC1 for Black Ops 4 Zombies was going to feature the Chaos storyline and was going to actually contain new characters rather than Scarlet, Bruno, Diego, and Shaw, who we saw in Voyage of Despair and in 9. Now, I'm not someone who particularly likes leaks, and so I've tried to avoid getting any more information beyond what I read that day when that stuff initially started coming out and the Zombies community kind of blew up and just exploded with this crazy frenzy because of it. Now, I've not been entirely successful. I was talking to Lex the other day and he mentioned that the idea is that DLC1 is going to be a new set of characters in the Chaos story, like the leak said, but it's specifically going to be set in a mansion which belongs to Alistair Rhodes. Now, that mansion is mentioned as having burned down in Voyage of Despair. I think there's a newspaper or something that the leak kind of hinted towards, or something along those lines, that gave us the idea and gave us the information to let us know that Alistair Rhodes, that's Scarlet's father, has a mansion which burns down at some point, and that's possibly going to be the setting which DLC1 takes place in, because it's a prequel map, I believe. Now, I've learned that information now. There's no point me pretending that I don't know it, despite the fact that I'm not a massive fan of leaks. It's just reality that I now know that information, and so we might as well talk about it, right? And I actually wanted to try and turn this into not necessarily like a load of feature suggestions for Treyarch, but just a discussion of some cool ideas that I feel like we've been kind of missing in Zombies recently. If you think back to Verrückt, that map came out and there's a lot of environmental storytelling in the space that you inhabit when you're playing through that map. Like, you spawn in, and straight away you notice your teammates are on the other side of that power door to you, and you start asking questions right away about what is going on. And then you see the dentist's chair, for example, with the drill sound, and you hear people crying behind the walls, and you start to ask questions about what happened here? Why is the forest outside, like, on fire or so kind of desolate? And then you go up the stairs, there's mannequins with knives in them, you see all the writing on the walls, and essentially the environment prompts you with questions that you can't answer in a straightforward manner just straight away with, like, one kind of catch-all idea, right? You can't just say, oh, it's an asylum, because in an asylum, you wouldn't have some of the crazy other stuff that you see in there relating to the writing on the walls, the predictions of, like, certain events from the Bible and things like there's just some crazy stuff, right? That then combined with things like the arm on the power switch and there's just loads. There's just loads of environmental storytelling that got poured into that map. We ended up getting similar on a map like Shadows of Evil. You spawn in and straight away the summoning key is in that crate. And you're here like, wait, that's the most powerful artifact in not just this, but any universe, and it's in a box on a truck? Huh? And then you go through the Easter egg, and you see, as you're running around the map, that reporter with the letter from M inside that room behind the rebuildable barrier, dead with, like, a knife in his chest or something. That straight away starts you asking questions about the environment. Another great example of it is Shinonuma, the hanging man, and then the bloodstains on the floor and the broken bits of the wall, and you start to question exactly what has gone on before you got there. Now, with a mansion map that we know because of these leaks and because of this, I think, newspaper thing in Voyage, we know to have burnt down, there is a perfect opportunity for Treyarch to do two things. One, really, we should start getting a really solid grounding in what exactly is going on in the Chaos story. Scarlet and the rest of her crew have essentially banded together to help Alistair, and Alistair has sent her a letter saying, hey, it's been 15 years since we last talked, but I kind of need your help. This crazy evil order is kind of getting the better of me, and I need to beat them. Like, I cannot let them win. And we hear in Voyage and in 9, Scarlet tells stories of her father's fake friends not helping him on the night when he needed them most in the mansion. There's just a lot of questions that spring up because of all that, and some of those will be answered in the comic, but this is a perfect opportunity to ground us in the lore of the world right here in Alistair's mansion itself. I mean, we know that that guy has done a load of research and has probably a load of blueprints and schematics and trinkets and artifacts and all sorts of stuff in his house from his years of travels doing whatever the hell that he's been doing. And that is something that we should see when we play DLC 1. But also, the second thing that I really want to see is some environmental storytelling where we walk through the space, and instead of a map like Voyage of Despair, where you look at any single thing in the map, anything at all, and you can say, oh no, yeah, the only reason that that's there is because they activated the artifact. Like, that single thing in Voyage of Despair is such a catch-all. Like, there's not really anything I can think of on Voyage that makes me go, yo, why is this here? Because I just straight away go, well, the Prima Materia is there because they activated the artifact, and XYZ is there because they activated the artifact. Like, those questions are just too easily boxed in to that one point. And in this map, I would love if, in the setting up of that world of lore, they gave us a load of new questions to ask just based on the things that we find that aren't all just related to, oh, Alistair's an adventurer, or, oh, it was the artifact, or something like that. Like, I want this to feel a little bit more broad than that, I guess. Now, another thing I think would be really cool to see in DLC 1 would be for them to lean into the actual fact that it is a mansion of this one dude, and he's got all this crazy stuff in there, yes, but also, it's just one dude. And he's probably quite a secretive guy because of the fact that he's doing all this crazy investigating and adventuring and stuff like that. And so, I feel like there's a really good opportunity for Treyarch to kind of pull from things like the feeling that you get when you watch the film The Shining, and you're looking at this massive space and how empty and foreboding and secret and weird it all feels, and your mind kind of runs with ideas that aren't necessarily being backed up by things that you're seeing, but rather are being fed by the lack of things you're seeing. Like the negative space, the openness, the weird eerie vibe that you get from a film like that, and in plenty of other films and books, etc. too. I just feel like there is a great opportunity for them to really play to that strength in this map. Also, another thing that Lex mentioned that I thought was a really cool idea is like, what if they lean really heavily into the whole vampires side of things? Because they so easily could do. I mean, I'm not saying that Alistair himself needs to be a vampire, but what I am saying is that Treyarch have never really touched on that kind of area of mythology. And now that we've got Zeus, we've got Odin, we've got Ra, we've got Danu, we've got all sorts of mythological influence in Voyage and 9, it's a perfect opportunity. Hell, we've got Yggdrasil, we've got the Eye, whose name I forget, but the Eye's there as well. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and it's a great opportunity now for them to say, oh, you've got a mansion that's about to burn down? Let's stick some werewolves in there. Let's stick some vampires in there. Let's play with some more mythological elements that we have not yet touched on. I also think, and this is kind of like maybe pushing it a little far, but I also think it would be super cool if they kind of played with like some haunted house vibes. So one of the things that I was saying to Lex is there's a really cool opportunity here, if they decided to, for them to kind of mess with our perception of what's going on in this house. And so if they did something kind of like in Harry Potter, where like the staircases all change and take you to different locations, they could totally decide that they want to have some kind of changing movement system through the map, so you weren't always just going through a static house, kind of like it feels like you're going through a static boat in Voyage, but instead, the house could be like reacting to the way that we're playing, or doing some kind of crazy stuff along those lines. Like, I think it would be really cool if there was some almost like jumping puzzle type things in there as well, where there were things that we could do to affect the scenery and affect the map that weren't just killing zombies, and that weren't just like opening a buyable area or whatever like that. Like, I would really like to see some innovation in that area to say, okay, if you like have the skill to kind of strafe jump in a certain way, this is something that Lex mentioned I thought was a really cool idea. If you can strafe in a certain way, you can like get onto a certain balcony, and then you can maybe go up like a ladder or something that you wouldn't otherwise be able to access, and that gives you access to another area of the map that you can then link more easily to the rest of it, and almost, and I know this is going to sound weird, play with some of the ideas that we saw in Die Rise, with that one strafe jump near that mystery box, if you guys remember, where you go down that kind of slide, and then you get to that point where the mystery box is kind of down a little ledge, but then if you strafe jump off the pile of rubble, you can get back over the ledge to where that slope was. Playing with those ideas, but with the much, much smoother movement system of Black Ops 4, could, in my opinion, be really damn cool. It's one of those cases where, like, they're gonna have to find new things for this map that are gonna make it really feel iconic, really feel unique, and separate to the stuff that we've seen previously in Black Ops 4, and then also obviously in just the zombie story in general. And I think going back to that original root of that kind of environmental storytelling side of things, and also then just doubling down on the things that make a mansion itself cool in terms of mythology and lore, the werewolves, the vampires, all that sort of stuff, I just think that would be a really awesome opportunity. I mean, hell, make it kind of like a circus haunted house if you like, for all I care. Give us like a room full of mirrors so we can go in, like look at our character and we're all like bent out of shape and we can use that to like do an Easter egg or something. That would be really cool, man. I just think that there are so many ideas there that I hope that they don't skimp out on when they release this map for us all. So yeah, I basically just wanted to talk a little bit about DLC 1, the location, some ideas as to what could make it really enjoyable. If you guys have your own ideas, leave them in the comments down below. DLC 1's probably going to be releasing fairly soon now, but there will probably still be some time if we have some incredible ideas for Treyarch to implement one or two of them, maybe, if they read through the comments of this video and get inspired. So drop your comments down below. I've been MrRoflWaffles. I'm still going to be on holiday as this video is posted, just because Black Ops 4 was literally making me crazy and I needed a little bit of a rest. But I've got videos going up while I'm gone, so you shouldn't be missing out on anything. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.